I can't believe sometimes the things that you can find at a drugstore. $5 Canadian. For the price of a latte, you can have a beautiful gray, silver eyeshadow palette and do an editorial look like this. And if you want to see how I achieve this look, keep on watching. Hi, hello, my name is Valentina. I'm a professional makeup artist and I'm based in Vancouver. And in this video, I want to share with you a look that I have been craving for the last week. And it is a very 2000s throwback gray smoky eye. And my surprise is that I couldn't find the eyeshadow that I wanted into a high-end store. So I went to the drugstore and I found this. I got exactly the color story that I was craving. So if you want to see the process of building this smoky eye and the layers and the repeat steps that it takes to create this look, just keep on watching. So to get started in this look, I am going to use a bit of a radiant foundation. I already had some of my makeup done. I'm dealing with a case of winter allergies, so I removed some of my eyeshadow before. It was a bit uncomfortable, so I decided to just call it a day, change the look because I wasn't feeling it. And I decided to go for, I've been feeling like a gray eyeshadow look. It's something that it's been on my mind for weeks, honestly. And I feel like, okay, I'm going to get some different eyeshadows that I have that kind of leaning to a gray color. If I'm honest, I haven't found the one eyeshadow that it has a feeling of a gray tone that I want, sort of like from the 2000s. But I'm doing the best with what I found and just retouching my makeup with L'Oreal True Matte. This is a hyaluronic acid based foundation. It's really nice. It's really soothing. If you have dry skin or sensitive skin, something like this would be really good for you. And I'm going to apply a little bit of this foundation in the back of my hand and pick it up with my brush. This time I'm not going straight with the foundation on my face because I do have a bit of a makeup here. I just want to retouch what I have. Sometimes it happens that you have an idea of something that you would like to wear that day, either your clothes or your makeup or a lipstick, and then you do it and then it doesn't feel like that's what you want to have that day. And this is some of those moments where I feel that definitely I wanted something different, and this is a great moment to try, looks that I had in my head for a while. I think that I have been seeing a lot of grayish inspired editorials or magazines. I know Chanel just released a single shadow that it looks white on it, but it's actually gray. I haven't had the chance to try it. It's sold out where I live, so I'm waiting to see if I get my hands on it. Chanel sometimes it sells out and then it's gone. You didn't get lucky. We'll see. I know some eyeshadow pencils, they say they're gray. They are gray outside in the pencil, but they're not exactly the shade I want. So we're going to experiment, okay? We're going to try things together and see if we can come up with what I have in my mind. I'm going to use the L'Oreal Infallible concealer. Beautiful formula, very high performing, very high maintenance sometimes. Don't apply too much, but I have said in the past, if you have catch another of my videos, that not always I like to go straight from the applicator of concealers to my face because they hold way too much product and it's so easy to over apply concealer and then it's kind of a bit of a mess to remove. But in this case, I know this is my tried and true concealer. I know that I am not going to run into the issue of over applying it, so I just feel confident on doing this. And other than that, I recommend to just prime your brush and applying concealer from your brush directly. So I'm envisioning like a matte eyeshadow. I'm not sure I want shimmer in this look. I want something to translate very city, very high fashion. Look, I'm going for something that is definitely city life. And I hope I'm not covering what I'm doing with my mirror. I don't have sort of like a table with a mirror in my studio, so I just rely on handheld mirrors, usually from my makeup. So I apply concealer in this area here because I want to have a bright base. And this is a CoverGirl makeup primer, and I'm going to apply it directly on my eyelids. This is my personal one, so I'm okay with doing this. And I'm just using the same brush, the one that I use for concealer, to just use the remaining pigments to give it a little of a base. And notice that I'm just tapping the product into my eyes, gently tap. This is going to create a soft, beautiful base for our eyeshadows. I wanted to start this look in a way that I already have some of my makeup done, but I didn't apply makeup under my eyes because I felt like I wanted to experiment with the eyeshadows, and I don't know if I'm gonna have fallout. So if I need to clean up something, it's easier if I just remove from a fresh concealer base that is creamy and not set with butter. But also I feel like having your skin and your lipstick applied before you do your eyeshadow sometimes helps you have kind of like an anchor for where your look is going. If you just have your bare skin and if you have redness or something like that, it can be a bit complicated to envision how the eyeshadow is going to go with your skin. So sometimes I just do my face makeup first and then I do my eyes. It depends. So to build up my eyes, I'm gonna start with this little guy from Essence, and this is a brand that we don't have that many offerings in Canada, but the products that I have been able to find and try are so good. I absolutely love them, and I feel that they're so affordable. There's no hurt in trying them, and this one surprised me. It's the, I think it says it's Taupe, it's up. That's the name of the eyeshadow, nothing fancy, but it's a beautiful gray silver color story. And if you are not sure if you want to try these eyeshadow looks or if they will look good on you, I would say give them a try. It's I pay $5 Canadian, so it's not really a bad deal. And I'm really going to start with the white eyeshadow because I want that to go in my inner corners. I'm going to just press it and pack my brush with product, and I'm going to start pressing the pigments into my eyelids. I always recommend look straight into your mirror and see if your eyeshadow starts looking like it's too much, it's too powdery, like maybe you feel like it's going to flake under your eyelids. Also check for the amount of pigment. You can see how much you're building that color. So if you just want a soft wash of pigment, to just leave it like that. But if you really want the intensity, just keep adding layers of pigment. And now I'm going to go into this gray eyeshadow, and let's see how much of this color really transfer into my eyes, and if we can get it to look kind of like how it is in the compact. So far it looks promising. I have only used this shade over here. It's a beautiful kind of like it's like a soft glitter shade. It's really pretty, but I haven't used the rest of the palette. With a big fluffy brush, I'm going to start just tapping. Okay, that is so beautiful. It is pigmented and it does transfer like this shade that we had there. At this point, I'm just tapping the product into my lids. I'm not concerned with if it looks messy right now. That's not the stage that we're in. We want to build the pigments. We want this to stick to our base and give us a color payoff, and this is fantastic. Like, this is so beautiful. And it is kind of what I wanted. You see, I have some shadow that was here, so I'm gonna have to clean that up later. And I'm going for a little bit more of pigment because this eye needs it. I feel like it might be difficult to translate in camera, but with my mirror I can see that in the little crevices of my skin, basically it was like pigment was not inside those areas, so if I moved my eye I could see that it wasn't completely coated, and that makes your eyes look very messy. But I'm really happy with the payoff of this eyeshadow. I think it's absolutely beautiful and it's incredible. I'm at a place where I feel like we can start blending out the edges. Before that, I picked up a bit more of the white shade and I want to go back in my inner corner. Yeah, like you see, it brings back the brightness. Now I have a big brush for my eyes. Depending on the size of your eyes and the space that you have, you're gonna choose the blending brush that you need to use. This is pretty much a concealer brush or a soft highlighter brush, but I like to use this for my eyes. And a trick that you want to use with this is you want to choose a shade, either a shade like this one over here or your setting powder, and that's what you're gonna use to blend out the edges, because we don't want to, this is a smoky style of eye, you don't want to remove the pigment and then having to add more to it, but this is extremely stark contrast. We want it to softly diffuse, and I feel like your powders, like setting powder, especially if it's a pressed powder because they're creamier formulas, they're better at buffing out the edges of your eyeshadows than eyeshadows itself. So before I go with this one, I'm going to try one of my favorite pressed powders. I'm going to go in and pick up some of the product, and we're going to start diffusing this. And instead of like tones down a little bit of the gray, we will add an extra layer after we do this, but it's not because we don't have the intensity, it's just because we want to have a little bit of the gray sort of like pulling outwards. And you don't need to go inside where the pigment is, you just kind of like go over the edge, and it's kind of like adding a filter to where the pigment sits. Now these are looks that are not for every day. These are things that you want to do because you feel excited to do it, it's fun, and you don't need to be complying with anything like work. You know, if you're in a family dinner and this is not appropriate, it's fine. But if it's like on your own, you're going for coffee, you're going for dinner with a friend or your partner, or to the movies, it's fine. It's just enjoy it. More of the gray eyeshadow, and yeah, this one can be trickier, but you see how I hope you can see it, but it starts to look smoked out. Even though I have to clean this, it's fine. And sometimes you make mistakes, and that's fine. Let's remove excess. This is my first time using this. As I said, I would have probably be okay with a finer or smaller brush, but we will make it work. It's a soft smoke, it's not hard to do. You just need to work in layers. Also, don't pressure the brush into your skin at this stage. You just want to sort of like hovering the brush on your skin really softly. I confess that I am loving this look so far so much. I'm adding again more of that white. And it's okay if you basically step over the gray. Just bring the brush and then you're basically mixing it on your skin. Just like this. You're removing pigment. And I really like how this looks. I feel tempted to press a little bit more gray here. And then gently over the white. It does have fallout. You need to clean up after you do the blending, but it's totally worth it. I know that some people don't like these and it's a controversial topic, but I feel like as long as you are happy with the color payoff and the quality, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. So after I apply my eyeshadow and blended the edges, I check in the mirror closely, and I do have certain fallout, so I'm just going to remove a little bit of that. I'm gonna use, this is the Garnier Rose Water Infused Micellar Water Remover. They have a very long name, but it's just makeup remover for sensitive skin. And I'm going to gently remove just the excess eyeshadow and clean up. So if it gives us an edge, it feels like this I got more for that. And because my concealer actually stayed well in place, this L'Oreal concealer that I use they don't advertise it as a self-setting concealer, but it really dries down really nicely. I'll still use a little bit of powder to set it in place, but you can work your makeup and you'll notice that whenever you need concealer, it will stay. So I'm not going to use more concealer. I'm just going to use a little bit of my foundation, and I'm going to prime my brush again. I change to the small mirror in this case. Sometimes with looks like this, I feel that if you are very perfecting about your concealer placement, your contour, your powders, it can be way too much for the look. Unless you're going for a high glam look for an event, for every day, for a dinner, for a Saturday afternoon that you're going about your day doing things, I think it could be a little bit too much. So I like to do a more toned down makeup, a more simple makeup, and that can mean sometimes just like lighter formulas, and then have my statement eyeshadow. In a way, it makes it feel approachable, and it's something that if you're not used to wearing makeup, or if you're not used to doing eyeshadow looks that are a bit more punchier, I feel that it will make it easier. It's kind of like a beginner friendly way of doing an eyeshadow look, where you just transition from the clean girl aesthetics that we have had so far towards a bit more powder in your face, but then you have your statement eyeshadow, and then you don't have to complicate your look with trying to come up with like what to match with the eyeshadow in this case in terms of blush or contours or bronzers, because then you're adding so many steps that if you're not comfortable with makeup, or if it's just your first time trying a gray eyeshadow, it could be a little bit too much. I'm getting a little bit of my setting powder in a fluffy brush, and I am going to gently, very gently set my under eye, and I'm going over the little bit of blush that I had. I have a cool tone contour to lay and a little bit of highlight. I'm not doing blush with this look. I already wanted to have like a mauvey rose lipstick, so for now I'm not going to do the blush. We will figure it out at the end. I still want to do an eyeliner and my mascara, and then finish my hair, and let's see if I need it. Sometimes you don't really need that much blush. Just with this little palette, you could do the silver kind of like sparkly eye on top of this look. You could go with a very dark satin shade and just do like a one shade smoky eye, but this will be more for like a nighttime look, I feel. And then you have your neutrals for a day look. I think it's incredible. If you want to try gray tones, get this one. It's just so beautiful. So for my eyeliner, I have the Maybelline Tattoo Liner. This is like a gel product in a pencil formula, so I think it's great because this is like a 24-hour self-setting gel. It's not waterproof though, so if that's a concern for you, this is not the formula. But I'm going to gently start building the pigments in my waterline. And I'm going to tightline my eyelashes, which means I'm going to, so I just held my pencil like this, not towards my eye, but like against my eye, and I'm just going to gently tap the pencil and create small strokes like this. And what that does is basically you're just like gently stamping product. You can also tilt your head like this, but you're stamping product on your lash line, and that will help unify the look with your mascara. Eyelash curler. Once again, the MAC Stack Mascara. I really like this formula. I like the brush. It makes your eyelashes have a very high fashion look. I feel it, unless you are new in the beauty industry, you probably know that this is the mascara that broke the internet a few years ago. Every person in TikTok and their family were wearing this mascara, and I remember you could not find it in stores. I actually got the first one at an airport. I thought it was so fun. People were so crazy about this. I love the look of these. They're very, it feels like you're wearing a little bit of a false eyelash when you double coat your lashes with this formula. Okay, so this is the final result. I'm absolutely happy with this. It's exactly what I feel like I had in mind. I wanted to go for something that reminded me of like the late 90s, the early 2000s. I lived through those times. I wasn't wearing makeup back in the day in the way I do it right now. It felt, I was really young, but I love looking at magazines. I remember I'm that kind of person, and the looks look so beautiful. And because trends change, you know, finding gray eyeshadows was not that easy a few years ago, even a year ago. So I have been feeling like I wanted these, and I'm really excited. I hope this inspires you to wear grays in your eyes. One tip I want to give you is to think about your makeup and your outfit in ways of color stories. I like to call this tonal dressing. Find pieces of clothing that complement your undertone, your hairstyle, or your style, but then think about ways that you can incorporate your makeup as a color story with your outfit. I feel like you can go really either way with your lipstick. This is the one that I felt doing today. It brings a little bit more of warmth to the eye look and the entire makeup, so it's not as editorial as if I were just to, let's say, a cool tone lipstick and a white base gloss. That would be more editorial. I want it to be casual, chic, glam, but also easy. And yeah, I really like it. I hope this was inspiring. I hope this technique helps you. You can do this basically with any eyeshadow that you have. Just keep in mind to use a lighter shade in your inner corners and then a darker shade on the half of your eyes all the way to your outer corner. 2 layers of pigment, easy blending, easy soft smoky eyes. Here's the look. I have to say it again, here's the beautiful look. I love the eyeshadow so much. This little guy, you can have a fantastic gray silver story eyeshadow look, and yeah, why not? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want more tutorials, more editorial tips. Leave a comment down below. If you have any questions, also you can leave them down. I'll try to answer questions as the videos get uploaded. This is my absolute most exciting thing to do. I'm a creative makeup artist and I'm an artist, and I hope you enjoy the invitation to just do makeup in a way that's different and it feels good to you. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.